morning, students. Let us discuss today about a famous essayist of the Romantic period. Hope you have guessed. Yes, we are going to talk about Charles Lamb, who was also known as the Prince among English essayists. He was a Londoner both by birth and by lifelong residence. Though a close friend of Wordsworth and Coleridge, he loved the city life more than the country or the village life, which is also reflected in his works or the essays that we go through or we read. About his education, he was educated at Christ Hospital, and then he couldn't continue his university education because of the lack of resources. He had to take up a job as a clerk when he was only 17 years of age, where he worked for 33 long years. About his personal life, the information which is there is that he had an unhappy love affair, which has led also to a brief confinement in a madhouse, And then what happened? A very terrible thing happened in his life. His sister Mary, in homicidal mania, killed their mother, after which she was sent to mental asylum. And then Charles Lamb was the one who has to take care of his sister, so he decided to live a bachelor's life and take care of his sister because she has to be taken off and on to the mental asylum. At one place he has also said, you should die first, Mary, because he was very concerned about Mary, that if he will not be there, who will take care of his sister Mary. So all these tragic incidences in his life actually led him into the path of a writer of eminence, which made him a writer of eminence. The his humor actually is thus born out of the suffering of his life, and it at the same time an escape from the suffering, that he took escape to the humorous side of life sometimes. And the fame of Charles Lamb, if we talk about his works, principally rests on two works. One is Essays of Elia, the other one, Tales from Shakespeare. Tales from Shakespeare 1807 was a joint work of Charles and Mary Lamb, where he has done the tragedy portion, tragedies of Shakespeare, and Mary Lamb has done the comedies of Shakespeare. So it's really a very famous and enlightening book by Charles Lamb and Mary Lamb. Then we come to the Essays of Elia, which were published in London Magazine in 1800, in two series. The first one 1820 to 1823, the second one in 1833. Now it is these Essays of Elia on which the fame of Charles Lamb principally rests. Now what happens, Essays of Elia, who is Elia? Elia is actually a character, means he was an Italian clerk with whom Charles Lamb has worked in the South Sea House. So this character, the Italian clerk, is called Elia. And what is meant basically discussed in Charles Lamb Essays of Elia, they are in a nature of a personal correspondence where Charles Lamb has discussed everything without any inhibition, very informally, about himself, like his likes, his dislikes, his opinions, his experiences, and in such a nice way, in such an interesting manner, that it made him famous. Now, after that, I would like to tell that though he participated wholeheartedly in the social life of his circle, actually Lamb lived mentally and spiritually in the past. That is the reason for which he was not a very famous author of his times. At one place he has also mentioned, I am born out of time. Hang the age, I will write for antiquity. So these are his words. So today we have discussed about Charles Lamb, who was born in London and lived for his whole life in London, and educated at Christ Hospital, as you know, and then university education he couldn't complete. He had to take up a job. His life was a tragic one, which also turned him into a writer of eminence who discussed humor at length, at large. And Mary, his sister, he has to take care of Mary because he was having some mental issues. Now, what happens? His fame rests on two works that I have discussed: Essays of Elia and Tales from Shakespeare. Tales from Shakespeare, the joint work of Mary and Charles Lamb, and Essays of Elia, published in London Magazine in 1820-23, first series, 1833, the second series, which discusses about the personal life of Charles Lamb, his likes, dislikes, opinion, experience. But the time when he was writing, he couldn't rise to fame. Reason being, mentally and spiritually, he was living in an age of antiquity, of past. That's why his words, "I am born out of time, hang the age I will write for antiquity." So in this way, I would like to end up by saying that he is till today most dearly loved of all English essayists, and undoubtedly a prince among English essayists. Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.